We're trying to pick up the communications from the tanks. Nice job, Mike. Turn your turret on, will you? Right back here. Mimic your turret. That's it. You got him.
Hey Tankers, Bunzaduck here. Welcome to another week of Tanker Chat. What do we got going? Well, there's a lot of interesting news in the world of tanks world. We got update 1.10 coming out soon. In fact, ranked battles ends on the 3rd, which is tomorrow. So it should be showing up anytime after that. And there's a lot of new changes coming down the pike, and so I'm decided to, we've got the equipment 2.0, and inside with that you've got the what are they going to do with your current equipment and all sorts of different stuff. So Wargaming has put out a video. I'm going to go through that and break down that video and see if we can't glean some more information out of it, and then we'll talk about some of the other things that are going on in the 1.10 update. So let's get started, okay?
New equipment. New battle possibilities. New strategies. Equipment 2.0. World of Tanks is on the verge of releasing large changes to the equipment system. The main change is the addition of brand new types of equipment. The turbocharger is one example. It increases the engine power, as well as the top speed and reverse speed. The improved aiming increases the gun's accuracy. The improved rotation mechanism increases the turret and hull's traverse speed and decreases the dispersion on traverse. Improved hardening was also added to equipment. It includes all the bonuses of the improved suspension and increases the vehicle's durability and suspension repair speed. Repairs fully restore the suspension's durability, making it harder to destroy a track right afterwards.
Well, that's interesting. Okay, so looks like some of the new equipment is a combination of a bunch of older equipment, right? So that's kind of nice in the fact that now you don't, since they obviously are not going to give us more slots, it's nice that they've combined some of the probably lesser used equipment together to build, a new piece of equipment or, group of equipment, right? So the extra hardening, you shoot out a tanker's track, it's repaired with the extra hardening equipment, and then you shoot it out again, which is normally what you would try to do, and it doesn't look like it's as effective to double track somebody that quickly. So I'm not sure how it works if you threw if the player just threw in his repair kit and then the tank was fixed, does it just automatically act as it does right now where you track him again? Obviously that is something that they don't explain, but interesting.
There's also modified configuration. It not only includes all the bonuses of the toolbox, the wet ammo rack, the cyclone filter, and fill tanks with CO2, but it improves them. Additionally, it prevents one ammo rack explosion, fuel tank fire, or engine destruction in a battle.
Now that's interesting. So, again, a grouping of equipment that probably wasn't used that often. The cyclone filter. I don't know how many people even use that, but you group it together, and all of a sudden now you have a tank that you have a piece of equipment that stops you from getting one-shot ammo rack. It sounded like one-shot engine damage. Gasoline tank explosions. So, this is going to change some of the way that you might approach some of your tanks.
The additional grousers are no longer exclusive to certain vehicles, and they now have an additional bonus. They increase the vehicle's traverse speed and help to better maintain the current speed. The low-noise exhaust system reduces the visibility of the vehicle when stationary and moving. The improved radio set reduces the time you remain spotted for enemies while increasing the time an enemy remains spotted. The commander's vision system reduces the concealment of enemy vehicles, both moving or behind vegetation. Compared to the current system, the new equipment system will significantly improve variability and allow players to configure their vehicles to suit their playing style.
That's just a quick preview, kind of an overview of some things that are coming down the pike. Sounds pretty interesting. I like the fact that they're bringing in new equipment. All right. And now Honestly, I was looking at it when, in the common test, I looked at it and I was like, oh my God, there's so many choices. What are we going to do? It's just kind of overwhelming. But now you start looking at what they can do to different tanks and stuff like that. It'd be interesting to see if it actually changes, or will people stick with what they know?
Almost all types of equipment are divided into 3 classes with different prices and availability based on vehicle tier. The higher the class, the higher the price and credits. Class 3 equipment is available for Tier 2 to Tier 4 vehicles, as well as some vehicles of higher tiers. Class 2 equipment suits Tier 5 to Tier 7 vehicles, in addition to some vehicles of higher tiers. Class 1 equipment can be mounted only on vehicles of Tier 8 to Tier 10. The exceptions to this rule are the camouflage net and the spall liner. The camouflage net costs 50,000 credits for Tier 2 to Tier 4 vehicles and 100,000 credits for Tier 5 to Tier 10 vehicles. The spall liner is not divided into classes. There are 4 types, each one fitting certain vehicle types.
It's interesting that they've broken it in and basically, kind of changed that. There was a mod out there that allowed you to move equipment, right? But they've changed that now where you can't. Let's say I'm just going to move this from my Tier 5 to my Tier 8. Nope, not necessarily anymore. All right. So anyway, equipment categories.
Under the new system, equipment is divided into 4 categories: firepower, survivability, mobility, and scouting. The latter combines your vehicle's concealment with the characteristics that affect spotting enemy vehicles. Each category corresponds to the characteristics of the equipment used to improve the vehicle. That's why improved ventilation includes all 4 categories, while the improved rotation mechanism affects only 2. All other equipment items affect only 1 category.
So categories. Now you have equipment that is broken into certain categories that help, obviously help with that category, and that is kind of nice because it helps tankers decide what they want to do. Are you going to build this, this tank to be mainly for firepower, so on and so forth? It's going to come into play. The categories are going to come into play later on in the video and be a little bit more understanding as to why they created categories. But the fact that you have some equipment that can bounce between all categories and just a couple categories and 0 categories is interesting. In the fact that, again, when it comes into play later on with the slots in their categories, you might be able to get some extra oomph and still get extra bonus. So anyway, slots and their categories.
Along with the changes to the garage interface, you might notice that the number of slots for equipment and consumables now depends on the vehicle tier. Tier 1 to Tier 3 vehicles have an increasing number of slots to gradually allow new players to adapt to the system. For this same reason, these vehicles have a decreased chance of having a fire or experiencing their modules being destroyed and crew members injured. Vehicles Tier 4 and higher have 3 slots for equipment and consumables, so they have standard chances of encountering problems. Starting from Tier 6, the first slot, as well as the types of equipment themselves, has at least 1 of 4 categories.
So categories tied to slots isn't going to start till Tier 6, which is nice because I think 1 through 5. Come on, those guys they got enough going on. Just trying to deal with the seal clubbers. Learn the ins and outs of the game and stuff like that, and they're just getting started to learn the equipment, right? Because you won't be able to put equipment on a Tier 1, and it looks like Tier 2 might have just 1 slot, and Tier 3 might have just 1 slot, and then Tier 4 maybe 2 slots. So slowly allowing players to add equipment, making it so that it's not a huge focus right from the get-go. I remember when I first started, I was like, what do I add? Do I add this? Oh, I want to be sneaky. But, you really don't even understand what equipment could do in the game that's going on. And you don't understand bush mechanics and all that at Tier 1. So it's throwing that extra complex in there is just doesn't seem very helpful. And I appreciate the fact that they've taken it out and tried not to make it such a big deal for the lower tier tanks. The seal clubbers aren't going to be happy, probably. But then again, who cares?
Category depends directly on the vehicle type. Heavy tanks have survivability. Medium tanks have mobility. Light tanks have scouting. SPGs and tank destroyers have firepower. If you mount an equipment item of the same category in this slot, it will provide an improved effect. The vertical stabilizer is an exception to this rule. There are no vehicles with a slot that would provide a boost to its characteristics. If the categories of the slot in the equipment item don't match, the bonus will be standard. Improved and bounty equipment items are not linked to any of the 4 categories, so they don't give a bonus when in special slots. However, they still provide a greater increase to characteristics than standard equipment, even if the standard equipment is mounted in a slot of the relevant category. The characteristics of improved equipment were increased as well, which justifies the higher cost.
You put a piece of equipment in a designated slot. If the first slot is designated firepower and you throw a firepower piece of equipment in there, you get an extra boost, an extra bonus. Unless, of course, you have a bounty or bond equipment in there, in which case it's going to be the standard. But that even the bond or bounty equipment is supposed to have more than the special boost than the standard equipment with the special stuff. So I mean, now there's this added complexity in there, right? So another thing to think about is, are you putting the just to get that special boost, it would behoove you to put it in that so that you got the bonus, obviously, but they're not designated. You can put other stuff in those slots. You just want to get the bonus. So
now for the most interesting part. How can the new equipment be applied in battle? Let's take the Mouse, a big, tough vehicle. What's usually mounted on it? Improved ventilation, a gun rammer, and an enhanced gun laying drive. A classic combo. But how might the Mouse look under the new system? If we mount modified configuration, improved hardening, and the Spall liner, it turns into the main defender of the livestock sheds on Malinovka. Keep ventilation and the gun rammer, but throw in the improved aiming, and we have a Mouse that's ready to deal damage from the second line. And with the turbocharger, the improved rotation mechanism, and the additional grousers, it's already rushing to the hill. Rushes like a Mouse, of course, but still. But here's a more down-to-earth setup. Ventilation, gun rammer, and modified configuration. The good old Mouse, but now better protected from the ups and downs of random battles. Medium tanks receive their own bonuses. With the improved rotation mechanism, they fire more accurately while on the move. Light tanks receive a new perspective. With the Commander's Vision system and the improved radio set, they spot enemy vehicles earlier and longer. And with the turbocharger, they can race around the map more actively. Tank destroyers have their own advantages. With the improved rotation mechanism, they have less dispersion upon movement, and the improved aiming helps them mount ambushes more effectively. The improved rotation mechanism can also help SPGs acquire new targets by speeding up aiming. As you can see, you can now select various combinations for each vehicle type to improve the main characteristics of certain vehicles. And in some cases, the new equipment options may change the playing habits and principles that have formed over the years.
Well, I mean, that opens up the door for so many different things, right? I mean, you have to really look at what you're going to use the equipment for on the tank. I do wonder, though, on the lights, are the wheeled vehicles going to? I mean, they're considered light tanks, right? So, are they going to get the turbo boost and then the extra view range help there that is going to make these things rage even faster around the map and have even better vision? It'd be interesting. Will it change? Again, I'm going to throw the question out. Will it change the way that people use the equipment, or will they just use what they know? So anyway, okay. So equipment conversion. This is going to be the area that's going to cause the most frustration, outrage, whatever you want to call it, right? complaints. Equipment 2.0 has a lot of good things coming with it, right? And they changed their mind on the designated slots, then moved it to just one slot, which in the first reiterations it was 2 slots, I believe, were dedicated to equipment that they picked for you. But so there's a lot of good things, but when it comes to this conversion, this is what's going to upset people, because now you're going to have to go through all your tanks. All right. Things change. It's not because they've added new classes that changes the way that let's take gun rammers. Now we have large caliber, medium caliber gun rammers is what we currently have, and now they're going to be becoming gun rammer class 1, class 2, class whatever. So what can you use with what? What can you it's. We need to pay attention to this. So we're going to go through the video, and then we'll go back through what's posted on the site.
But what about the equipment that players have currently? All equipment items in the depot and on vehicles will be converted to new equipment according to the specifics of the reworked system. This process doesn't require players to do anything. In fact, players will benefit. Equipment that's mounted on vehicles will stay mounted even if the classes don't match, but it will be automatically demounted and moved to the depot in the update following 1.10.
Okay, so very important part there. So yes, you could have a gun rammer on a tank that didn't match the class, right? So let's say you had a medium gun rammer on a tier 10 tank, which is supposed to be using a large gun rammer. You could leave that on the tank after 1.10. All right, and use it as though it was the new whatever class gun rammer for that tank. On the update after 1.10, which 1.10.x, I don't know if that's a micro patch, if it's a full-on update, so now then they'll automatically demount that for you. You just told me I could use it, but now it's for a limited time. So be careful. That's what it sounded like to me.
All equipment will be demounted from Tier 1 to Tier 3 vehicles, except for some rare cases. Additionally, all improved equipment will be sent to depot from all vehicles. To help mount new equipment on vehicles, all players will receive demounting kits. They can also be purchased for credits or earned by completing missions. You can learn more about the conversion rules in the article on the game portal.
Okay, so here we are at the website, and I can't strongly urge enough that you go through this and read this. It's painful, but this video is long enough as it is, and I can't go through this whole list. The video covers a lot of it, but there's a lot of other stuff in this website, in this webpage, that you're going to want to know. What's going to happen during the conversion, maybe help you understand a little bit better what's going to happen during conversion. Preparing yourself with the knowledge prior to it happening is going to make a difference in how you perceive the upgrade. For all intents and purposes, that's what it is. It's an upgrade, right? We're the users. We play the game. We're the users. They've made the change. It's coming down the pike. You might as well just learn about it. Learn how to minimize the pain that you're going to suffer, and figure out what's going to change. So be informed. This is something that's going to be a major change and going to cause some real heartache to people and real heartburn to a lot of others. So there's information on here on this page that you're going to want, like a compatibility list. The answer to my question about the wheeled vehicles. Can you add the turbocharger to the wheeled vehicles? No, you can't. Okay, cool. You can't add binos to them. Great. Far out. The wheeled vehicles are not getting super buffs. Right, so there's stuff you can't add to SPGs. There's just a whole variety. But the compatibility list, there's more information in here about the new types of equipment and the bonuses you're going to get. Just information that you're going to need. I can't express it. There's a ton of information here, and if you go in uninformed because you chose not to be, I guess that's on you. You can't really complain about it, right? So this video has been long, and I appreciate y'all sticking with it, but that's just going through the equipment 2.0. We've got new way to get bonds. We've got the Polish tanks. There's all sorts of stuff coming out. So I'll be releasing tanker chats on individual subjects as I digest them. Hopefully we can get this information out before the update so that you're at least aware of what's coming. And I just thought that the equipment was the most important because that's going to be the biggest hitting portion of this update. So anyway, if you liked the video, hit the like button. I hope you have had a great weekend. Look forward to seeing some more tanker chats. This is Bonsai Duck out.